Good afternoon. We're back. We had a little bit of a break after Easter. Well, let's face it, everyone needs a little bit of a break sometimes. So, yeah, we're back. Here we are in Hirschbach again at the organ. And today we're going to look at something rather interesting. But before we get into it, I want to once again say thank you to our sponsors and our donors and the people who want to support the channel. Thank you very, very much for continuing to help us. We're still on the lookout for help and assistance of a financial nature as well, of course, so that we can continue to build the channel and travel around Europe visiting wonderful organs, and at the same time build up our equipment levels so that the videos get better and better and better. Now, on that subject, I recently received a rather generous donation from a chap in the north of Germany, and he had a kind of special request, and I thought, well, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. But for that, I need a couple of things to assist me. A couple of days ago, I posted a thingy in my channel. What are they called in English? One of the, a poll for people to sort of answer some questions. And I asked everybody, what do you think I miss the most from Britain? Don't forget, I've been living in Germany now for almost 20 years and originally from Scotland. There's bound to be something I miss from home. And I asked, what do you think I missed the most? Most people thought I missed the Scottish scenery the most, yeah? That might actually be true, but I now live in a part of Germany that looks very similar to the Highlands of Scotland. We'll leave the mountains out of that, but the rolling hills around Inverness, where I come from, and to the east of Inverness, it looks basically exactly like it does here in the Westerwald, that part of Germany where I live, the Westerwood. Sounds like something from Lord of the Rings. Anyway, that was one of the options, and most people thought that's what I missed the most. Another of the options was Scottish whisky, single malt whisky. Well, I don't miss that because it's actually cheaper to buy it in Germany than it is back home because of taxes and all that sort of stuff. Crazy, isn't it? One of the other options was British cuisine. And everybody laughed and said, what on earth could you possibly miss about British cuisine? But I'll get back to that in a minute. There are a few things I miss. Haha. And then I had two musical options, and one of them was traditional Christmas carols. And I think all of you, especially in the English-speaking community, you all know what I mean when I say traditional English language Christmas carols. And that's something that doesn't really exist as such in Germany. We're slowly getting there. They're sort of beginning to import the English language carols. And that's becoming rather popular, so it's getting there. But there isn't really a direct comparison, as it were. And then the other thing I said was, what about Anglican music, especially Anglican evensong music? And that really is something I miss rather a lot. The tradition that you find in the English language cathedrals around the world of a daily evensong service with the choir the choir is the focus of the service, and they sing the beautiful settings that they have of the Magnificat, Nunc Dimittis, psalms, all the wonderful things that they get to sing as the choir. That doesn't really exist in Germany. The choral tradition here is very, very different, and I do miss that. I myself was in several cathedral choirs and had the opportunity and the fortune, shall we say, to be able to do that, to sing in daily services and of course at the weekends. And I loved it. And when I moved to Germany first, I really did miss that a lot. For a while I had a choir that specialized in English language music, and we regularly performed evensong, certainly not daily, maybe once a year or something. And that wasn't quite enough, but better than nothing. So let's have a look at these things that I said. British cuisine. How can somebody miss British cuisine? Well, like I said, I brought something with me. Now, these are not sponsored adverts, okay? These have been provided by me. Jam tarts. I love jam tarts. It's some crazy sort of British little cakey thing with jam in the middle. And it sounds like you'd imagine you'd get that all around the world. Well, you probably can, but nothing beats the original. And I have people that regularly go to the UK and bring me these back. Someone recently went and brought me back 12 of these packets. And I think 5 of them have already gone. So yeah, got to watch out for the figure. And then of course there's our old friend, Mr. Chocolate. And you're thinking, come on, you're living in Germany, you're close to Switzerland, you're close to Belgium, you know, centers of wonderful chocolate around the world. Yeah, that might be true, but I still miss my good old-fashioned Cadbury's Dairy Milk chocolate. Now, please don't rush out and start buying these things and sending them to me. That was not sort of a plea for help. Go and feed me. No. I have my contacts and I get these things. I can actually buy the chocolate in Germany now. I found someone who supplies it. And so I am covered for that. But there is something that I really do miss more that I cannot find here in Germany, and that is decent Indian food. Oh, in Britain, of course, don't forget the history of Britain, and until 1947, or India as well, there was a connection there. So, of course, in Britain, in every street corner, you've got an Indian takeaway. How I miss that. I really miss that. You don't get that in Germany. The best Indian restaurants in Germany still aren't anywhere near as good as the smallest, I'm not going to say worst, but, you know, the smallest sort of corner takeaways that you're going to find in little villages somewhere in the middle of Great Britain somewhere. Yeah, I really do miss that. So whenever we're back home in the UK, one of the first things we have to do is go for a decent curry. What about these musical things? I'm getting hungry. We need to get moving. I said musical things. What about this? A very different musical tradition here in German churches. I've already mentioned that. And the Anglican, this is the Anglican hymnal, so there's a German hymnal as well. We'll look at that in a minute. And they're just very, very different traditions. And that's something I want to look at a little bit today. I've opened up my books here, my hymn books, and I've dug out a tune that I found in both. It's a Christmas tune, so it's linking my Christmas carol and Anglican music theme. And it is, of course, O Come All Ye Faithful, Christmas classic. Here's the English version, and here is the German version. Now, let's just stay here for a minute. Look at the difference. This is only a melody, and this is in 4 parts, so the choir can sing it directly. Now, that's something that took me a long time to get used to when I moved to Germany. I started playing for church services here, and you get your book, and you've only got the melody. Now, okay, I think I'm quite good at harmonizing a melody from sight, just like that, so it's not a problem. But imagine coming from a tradition where you've always got 4-part harmony there in front of you, and then suddenly you've only got the melody, and you have to make up your own harmonies. That took a while to get used to. And something else that took me a rather long time to get used to is the sort of the introduction to the hymns, and that's actually an incredibly weird thing here in Germany. It's you only find it really here in Germany. Sort of, you know, to let the congregation know what you're about to start playing. There's a rather different tradition here. We'll have a quick look at that. One of the first things that you sort of have to get used to here is the difference between sort of getting into a hymn. And I mentioned that a minute ago. There's a very different tradition here. Now, of course, in the good old Anglican tradition, you just sort of open up the book at number 30, and so that the congregation knows what speed we're going to do it at, you just start playing. And that was your introduction, and then you immediately start playing again. Now in Germany, it's a very different tradition. It's sort of this amazing sort of symphonic introduction so that people don't really know what's happening. And it could be something like, at Christmas time, it could be something like this. For days until the organist finally decides what's happening. And something else that can happen is this. The organist goes crazy at this speed, and then when it comes to playing the hymn itself, he lurches into it at a completely different speed. Now, I was brought up in a different way. I was brought up to say, you know, stick to your guns. If you're going to play your introduction at speed A, then the congregation is going to sing with you at speed A. So the introduction is there to let the congregation know what are we going to play, and what speed are we going to play it at, or what speed are we going to sing it at. And that's quite important. And this sort of bizarre tradition that you have here, where the melody is hidden somewhere in a sort of a weird accompaniment, and then towards the end, I recognize it now, and then the organist stops and leaps into it at a completely different speed. You get that quite a lot here in Germany, and I think if I ever had the chance to change that tradition, I probably would a little bit. So that's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine here in Germany, but it's just a different tradition, something I had to get used to. I don't really do it very much. When I'm here at this church, or in churches I normally play at, I normally do it in the old way I used to do. I play the first few bars of the hymn, the congregation know, we're singing number such and such, we're going to sing those verses of such and such, and I can hear the melody, and I can hear the speed we're playing it at. Keep it simple, folks. I think that's a much easier way of doing things. So to finish up for today, I'm going to play another of my favorite hymns, and it's the old melody Hyfrydol, the old Welsh one, or high fried oil, as we used to say. And it, of course, has a rhythm 8-7-8-7-D, D for double, so it's 8-7-8-7, and then again 8-7-8-7. And another rather fine tradition that most parishes and most cathedrals around the world still have would be, you would sing 3 verses with the choir, 4 parts, and then the final verse, the choir would be forced to sing unison, so they're all singing the melody, and then the organist can really go crazy and add his or her own harmonies to make it even cooler than it already is. So here are 2 verses of Hyfrydol to finish up for today. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Good to be back after a brief pause. Pause, that's a German word, isn't it? A brief break, a small break, short break. There we go. it is still very confusing doing this in German and then in English. Maybe next time I'll do it the other way around, in English first and then in German, and see if that confuses me even more. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. Now, there is something I want you to have go and have a look at as well. I mentioned a few weeks ago I was going to start a second channel all about cars, because I love cars, everything to do with them, repairing them, cleaning them, buying them, selling them, test driving them, blah, 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 everything, yeah? I love cars. And this channel is now online, yeah. I'll see if I can link it up in the corner there, or if not, it's going to be down there. So go and have a look, see what you think. Subscribe, please, because there are going to be more videos involving my cars or involving cars over the coming weeks, months, and years. And don't worry, though, it's not going to sort of take over from the organ channel. The organ channel is still #1, and we're going to put all our work in there. This is just sort of a bit of a hobby, for a bit of fun on the side, as it were. So if you do like it, please subscribe and like and comment, etc., etc. The videos at the moment are all in English. We're going to see how it takes off, and I might do a couple of them in German and English as well, but so far we've done things like oil changes and gearbox oil changes, so I don't know how you're going to do that twice, once in German and once in English. It's a bit wasteful of resources, I think, but we'll see. We'll see how we get on. So thanks for watching. It's good to be back, and yeah, we'll see you next time. But next time we have something rather interesting again. We're out and about looking at a new organ. Now this is a completely new organ to me. It's in a city we haven't visited yet, about an hour south of here. And it's a rather famous church in a rather famous city, and there's a rather famous organist based there. He's a sort of international concert organist, and I haven't met him personally yet. We've had a chat on the phone about what we're going to do next week, introducing the organ, so I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you are too. It's good to be back and good to be out and about again. Don't forget, our toccata and fugue is still coming. Now, I did promise you that by the end of May, and like I said, we had a little bit of an Easter break just because we needed an Easter break, but I haven't forgotten about it. It's coming. It'll be there soon. And I have found the perfect organ to play it on. See you next time. Bye-bye.